Let's get started, ladies and gentlemen. SAG AFTRA Actors. The SAG AFTRA Actors Union has voted to strike.
Breaking news out of Hollywood, where actors will join the picket lines. The SAG AFTRA National Board announced a strike, and it begins at midnight. Actors are fighting for residual pay from streaming and the unregulated use of AI. The president of SAG AFTRA, Fran Drescher, spoke just moments ago.
This negotiation be covered because the eyes of the world, and particularly the eyes of labor, are upon us. What happens here is important because what's happening to us is happening across all fields of labor.
Do you care about this just because it's a union strike, or do your interests go deeper? That's a very weird question. Of course I care about labor action. I literally cover all matter of labor action. This is labor action in my backyard. It's an industry that's full of friends of mine. It's also one of the most public industries. I love when players unions actually engage in any kind of labor action. I love when actors and writers engage in any kind of labor action, especially because they're so public. They're so immediately in the eyes of the broader population. This automatically makes it a issue of contention from the jump. That is really good. That's a really good opportunity to do agitated propaganda, because like a lot of people will look to this and go, why the fuck are these famous actors striking? They make so much money. There is an opportunity to like utilize that and weaponize it against unionization in general, which is what a lot of the media does. They're like, yeah, look at these rich fucks. Like, why are they fucking, they want more. Their demands are so ridiculous, right? But because of that, there is also someone that has to be on the other side of that, combating this kind of misinformation and getting other workers to recognize that they also could benefit from more workplace negotiations. And the only method of doing that is, of course, through labor organizing. But the president of SAG was apparently in Paris on the eve of negotiations. Wow, dude, that's really fucked up. They should just, that means the union is really fucked up and their demands are busted too. Yeah, that's crazy. She was working. She had a contract. Nope, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's really fucked up. I'm going to take the fucking immediate anti-union lie, anti-union propaganda, hook, line, and sinker, and then bring it up here. I love when people are just like, I don't get it. There's a labor action that's supposed to be happening. Why are you fulfilling the obligations of your contract prior to said labor action? Hello? That's the entire purpose of these contracts. It's that you maintain goodwill by saying, look, we will follow through all of the contracts you give us to a T until there's a moment of negotiation. And after the negotiation, if the unions democratically vote to engage in a work stoppage, then it's over. It's done until you meet our demands and the contract is ratified. If actors negotiate their individual wage per contract, what does the union do? How does that work? Sorry if this is a dumb question. Unions get money from the studios across the board and also through dues and pay for healthcare and things of that nature, and also maintain minimums and maintain things such as residuals. That's actually not a bad question at all. It's actually the same exact they work in the same exact capacity to the Writers Guild, or even to all the other guilds like IATSE, for example, that works aside on top of these other unions. This is how it works. They create standards, workplace conditions. They make sure that there is better profit sharing. They offer health care to the contracted employees. You know, everything that you see on a set, like from working hours, meals, breaks, all that kind of shit is negotiated by unions, because as we know, the bosses are never going to do that. They're not going to do that. They'll cut wherever they can. They'll cut it down, whichever way they see fit. So this is at the heart of the matter. Stars Cillian Murphy and Emily Blunt leave Oppenheimer premiere as Hollywood actors are launching a strike that could stall the whole industry. Yeah, I mean, this is big. This is really, really big. Which actors do you think are going to come out as anti-union? Likely easy answer, Chris Pratt. No actor will come out as anti-union. They won't openly. I mean, they'll say, the most you'll hear is like, no, dude, they're a part of SAG AFTRA. You're SAG AFTRA. You're crazy. No, here's what will happen. They'll make subtle remarks. Oftentimes, older actors will make subtle remarks that are like in the middle. Unions are really powerful and really good, but honestly, you know, we also need to make sure that we don't go too far. Something along those lines. They'll never just straight up come out and be like, this union is shit. It's fucking dog shit. Fuck the union. They won't. They're literal members of the union. Do you think that this will prolong the writer's strike even more? Do you think this helped? This of course helps the writer's strike. Of course. Additional components of a sector also engaging in work stoppages is going to increase the pressure, because what is a strike? It's a work stoppage. There's a negotiations process, there's a contract, there's a back and forth, and your goal as the labor union is to ensure that there's as much pressure, because companies are incentivized by profit. There's as much pressure as possible on a lot of these publicly traded companies that have boards that have a fiduciary responsibility to their shareholders to constantly and consistently increase shareholder value. And when there's a work stoppage, you're seeing a massive hit to shareholder value. So their job is to nip this in the bud. Their job is to stop this as quickly as possible. I think one of the things that was truly unhinged was when the AMPTP openly stated, like some of the heads of studios openly stated, we will wait this out until some of you become homeless. That is a truly insane, unhinged, giving the game away ass beat right there. Them stating openly that, like, you know, on no uncertain terms is kind of unimaginable. I do think that they're getting way too fucking big for their britches. They're getting way too comfortable. Like, how do you feel like you can get away with that? I mean, but then again, these guys, they test the market. They know what people have a taste for. They understand. Maybe they think that unions are not as positive, or at least like these types of unions are not as positively perceived by the broader population, because there's always the other side of anti-union sentiment where people go, oh, these guys are so lazy. They're so demanding. They're so spoiled. They're so entitled. How dare they? The reality is, even if they're making a lot of money or not, this is a demand to take back more of the value that they generate. Never forget, this is not about whether you like a particular movie or not. This is not about whether you like a particular actor or not. This is not about whether they have good politics personally or not. I always say this, unions are not about being left or right. Unions are about fairness. Fairness. When you go to work, no matter where you are, under a capitalist organization of the economy, you go to work every fucking day and you're generating value for that company. You're doing something. Even if you're just fucking sitting there and acting like you're looking at spreadsheets, ultimately the company has decided that you are a net benefit to them. That's called profits. They're extracting your surplus labor value. They're paying you wages and they're getting more in return for those wages. So when unions get together, it's not about asking for unjustifiable things, but it's usually just about demanding that out of the value that they create, not the arbitrary amount, by the way, out of the value that they create for their bosses, they want some of that back. That's it. And it's kind of funny because everybody always looks at the output. They're like, players unions, I don't really understand. I mean, the fucking Spurs are dog shit this year or whatever. And it's like, it doesn't matter, because whatever a particular player is making in the form of wages, in the form of their contracted wages, their bosses are making a shitload more off of their players. That's it. Here is one of the proposals. Let's take a look at that. The studio's AI proposal to SAG AFTRA included scanning a background actor's likeness for 1 day's worth of pay and using their likeness forever in any form without any pay or consent. Netflix putting out Jonah's awful episode of Black Mirror and then doing this is additionally ironic. But it's just like the Barry episode. Like, the Barry writers that are a part of the fucking Writers Guild of America wrote the episode of Barry where they're talking about big streamers like HBO, which Barry's on, fucking them over and shutting down their goddamn show because these guys live in it. And the studios don't care. The studios, as long as they're making money, as long as the show is popular, will let you say it. Not new. This is in every industry, okay? This is the same concept throughout time. Remember, they once said, capitalists will sell us the rope in which we hang them from. This is the concept. This is that theory in action that you're seeing. Like, they don't give a shit. As long as they're making short-term profits, they will fucking upload videos like that. As long as I'm still generating value for Amazon, more value than I take from them in the forms of subscriptions and ad revenue that they're taking off the top, they don't give a fuck if I'm also funding simultaneously the Amazon labor union. They don't give a fuck if I'm also speaking out against Amazon's harsh, horrific labor practices. This is how it works. Matt Damon with a middle ground take. From what I understand, they cut it before he was done with his full take. Okay, that's what people are saying.
Ben and I just started this little independent studio, and you know we're 3.5 movies in. We're shut down on one of them right now. We're just waiting for everything to resolve. So, and it's you know, it's brutal for our sister unions. It's brutal for IATSE. You know what I mean? It's like, and it's going to be tough for the actor, for 160,000 actors. So nobody wants a work stoppage. But if our leadership is saying that the deal isn't fair, then we gotta hold strong till we get a deal that's fair for working actors. You know, it's the difference between having health care and not for a lot of actors, and we got to do what's right by them.
Wait, he didn't say anything bad. This is not anti-union. Matt also said if our leadership is saying the deal isn't fair, then we got to hold strong until we get a deal that's working for actors. There's a difference between having healthcare and not for a lot of actors, and we got to do what's right by them. That's not middle of the road at all. No, you guys just read the Deadline Hollywood. You didn't watch the video. You read the Deadline Hollywood quote, which quoted him halfway to make it seem like he is against the strike. Matt Damon at the Oppenheimer Theater says the Hollywood labor strikes will be brutal for actors in his own production company, which has shut down one of his company's films. This is 1,000% sensationalist propaganda. They're doing this on purpose. They did it with this one too. That's so funny that they're just like clipping. Kenneth Branagh on the Hollywood labor strikes. I hope as everyone does it, that it resolves itself quickly. It's truly amazing how Deadline takes every actor's very pro-work stoppage sentiment quote and trims it to sound anti-work stoppage. It's like when they make it look like Homer Simpson said, sweet, sweet can, only in real life over and over again.
But it does that, it resolves itself quickly, but it's such a critical time in our industry, the implications of what's happening with that agreement.
That's so funny that the media is not working alongside labor unions. This is why I love strikes in industries that are highly visible. This is why I love it personally, because it's a wonderful opportunity for a lot of people to see the true nature of labor press coverage for the most part, with obvious exceptions, and the true nature of how capital owners work against the workers. Because Matt Damon is fucking insanely famous. Everyone wants to hear what Matt Damon has to say. People are going to be paying a lot more attention to fucking Matt Damon than they do to the UPS strikes that are about to happen. That's been ongoing for a moment now. I've covered the Teamsters contract negotiations, but the reality is the broader public doesn't care about it as much. They should, but this is a great opportunity for people to learn, okay?
Go way beyond the membership of SAG AFTRA. It's an existential moment in our industry, and I think it's not a surprise that it's a difficult thing to thrash out. I do think everybody's trying to get a fair deal, but I'm in solidarity with SAG. I've been a member for over 33 years. I think they're doing the best they can, and I think it's the way to go. Yes, it's we listen we know everything's affected. I hope it's going to be something that motivates people.
Guys, it's Oppenheimer. It's going to have some Christopher Nolan-ass audio at the fucking red carpet even, okay? What do you expect? Here's Bob Iger, who makes $27 million a year, complaining that writers and actors aren't realistic in their demands, refuse to answer what's unrealistic, and admits a strike will be devastating. Yes, that's how strikes work. That's why they're effective.
Speaking of content, we're in the midst of a writer's strike, and very likely it would seem to have a actors' strike. How is that going to impact things, and what are your expectations there?
Well, I think it's very disturbing to me. We've talked about disruptive forces on this business and all the challenges that we're facing and the recovery from COVID, which is ongoing. It's not completely back. This is the worst time in the world to add to that disruption. I understand any labor organization's desire to work on the behalf of its members to get the most compensation, to be compensated fairly based on the value that they deliver. We managed as an industry to negotiate a very good deal with the Directors Guild that reflects the value that the directors contribute to this great business. We wanted to do the same thing with the writers, and we'd like to do the same thing with the actors. There's a level of expectation that they have that is just not realistic, and they are adding to a set of challenges that this business is already facing that is, quite frankly, very disruptive.
So they're not being realistic?
No, they're not.
Why not?
I can't answer that question. I respect their right and their desire to get as much as they possibly can in compensation for their people. I completely respect that. I've been around long enough to understand that dynamic.
Do you, though?
And to appreciate it.
That's awesome. Oh, no, totally. I do. But also, I am literally the main guy. Like, single-handedly, because this is how corporations work, unlike how labor unions work, because labor unions are democratic. Labor union leaders are voted for that position. Labor union contracts that they negotiate for are ratified through the democratic process. Bob Iger and capitalist corporations don't work in that same regard. He quite literally tomorrow could be like, fuck this shit. we're done. We're done with the strike. We're capitulating. We're caving to your demands. They're very reasonable. And we're just going to go and offer you all of your demands, which literally the sum total of which for the WGA at least is $420 million. It's literally like Zaslav and fucking Bob Iger's salaries combined, okay? It's a blip. It's an accounting error for these fucking multi-billion-dollar studios. And yet they still are like, nope, not going to do it. Understand that they're pumping and dumping a shitload more into whatever dumbass project that's never going to get launched. They're losing and forgetting more money. They're hiding more money in accounting errors, famously Hollywood accounting, so they can get tax breaks than giving $400+ million to the Writers Guild. $400 million back in the value that the revenue that they are generating, for the record. So Bob Iger could literally stop all this tomorrow. Oh yeah, for the record, where is he saying this? Oh, it's Sun Valley Billionaires Camp, of course. That's right. More than 40 CEOs and investors and industry leaders have began arriving at Sun Valley, Idaho on July 11th. This is famously where I believe Amazon or Jeff Bezos decided to purchase the Washington Post. This is where all the billionaires get together. They love this. They love this kickoff. They love going to fucking Sun Valley. Sun Valley has the opportunity to do the funniest thing in the world if they could.
And to appreciate it. But you also have to be realistic about the business environment and what this business can deliver. It is and has been a great business for all of these people, and it will continue to be, even through disruptive times.
Yeah.
But
these guys just don't understand business, baby. Or maybe they understand it real well, and that's what frustrates you.
You know, being realistic is imperative.
What do you do in the interim then? Does AI start to write a lot of scripts?
It will have a very, very damaging effect on the whole business, and unfortunately,
the strike will.
There's huge collateral damage in the industry.
That's kind of wild that the CNBC guy's like, oh, what are they going to do? What are you going to do? Write it with AI? That's the most contentious CNBC interview I've ever seen against the dude who your job is to literally glaze up, just suck his dick to completion, okay?